Welcome to the second Vibrant Asia Symposium of Journal of Asian Arts, Culture and Literature organized by the Asian Literary Society. It is my honor to moderate this session and have a discussion with the contributors on varied themes pertaining to Asia. I want to thank the founder, Mr. Manoj Krishnan, for his relentless efforts to promote this cause. My name is Nisha Tandon, and I am from Dubai. And I would like to begin this session by giving a brief introduction about each of my guests today. On our panel today, we have four guests, and actually I can exhaust the entire session talking about them. But I would like to give a brief description about each one before taking the discussion forward. Last but not the least, on our panel, we have Dr. Madhvi Menon, all the way from US, who is a Bharatanatyam dancer and has been trained by Padma Shri Guru Srimati Geeta Chandran in New Delhi. Madhvi has been performing Bharatanatyam in the United States since 2002 and is the artistic director of the Natya Marga School of Dance in Florida, USA. Madhvi holds a PhD in developmental psychology and is a professor in the Department of Psychology and Neuroscience at Nova Southeastern University. Madhvi's academic research focuses broadly on processes of psychosocial development during the period of middle childhood and emerging adulthood. And she has conducted studies and published papers on self-concept, self-esteem, attachment, aggression, gender identity, academic achievement, and parent-child and peer relationships. We are so happy to have you here, Dr. Madhvi.
Thank you so much. It's my honor, and thank you all. It's so great to see you all, and thank you, Asian Literary Society, for having me.
Now, next we have Dr. Madhvi Menon. Her theme was Indian classical dance and the development of cultural identity in the Indian diaspora. It's a beautiful, I think, theme, and I think most of the South Indians, I feel, they are dedicated towards some art form. Is it right, Dr. Madhvi?
Yeah, predominantly so, actually, particularly in Tamil Nadu, because I mean, when you think, but you're true, you're right, actually, pretty much,
very right.
And I wouldn't necessarily say just South India, because even we have a strong North Indian tradition of, Kathak. In East of India also, we have a lot of classical art forms. But I guess it appears that a lot of Bharatanatyam, yes, a lot of South Indians do it, but I think pan-India, we do have a really rich cultural tradition.
True. So I just like to, introduce this, but rest everything we want to hear from you. Art in any form not only empowers individuals, but helps them to stay connected with their roots. I think this comes from your article as well. So what, according to you, is the role of performing arts, specifically engagement in classical Indian dance, in the development of cultural identity?
Now, when we think of cultural identity, typically when we are actually living, for example, when I speak of myself, I lived in India till I was 22. And I've been here for almost 20 years now. When we live in India, we're not, the Indianness is not quite so salient to us because it abounds, it's everywhere. We don't really think, I mean, it's when you're part of the majority culture, we're not necessarily so keyed into it because it's everywhere, it abounds. But it's when we come out and we are sort of in a minority and we are sort of finding ourselves, we're trying to establish ourselves and adapt to our new land. And also there are the pulls to the motherland. And that is when, I mean, you look around, we speak, we sound different, we look different, we eat different foods. I mean, culturally, we are different. And it is when we're in a minority that we really start, this cultural identity actually becomes salient. I have to say, I mean, I thought of myself as Indian only after I came to the United States. When I was in India, of course, I was Indian, but I wasn't really thinking along those lines. Right. And to put it in perspective, about a decade ago, one of my Caucasian American friends visited India with me. And I remember this was, I think, after a shopping stint at Lajpat Nagar or Sarojini Nagar or somewhere. After that, we came home and she's like, Madhvi, this is the first time I thought of myself as white, because all along she had been, I mean, she'd
been in the US.
Yeah, she was born and raised in the US, and she never thought of herself and as anything specifically till she came to a land surrounded by brown-skinned people for her own ethnic identity to sort of become salient. So to sort of answer your question in terms of engagement with the classical arts. It's not just like a hobby class. I mean, it is a hobby class, of course, for a lot of, I mean, at the age of 5 or 6 when kids are starting out. It's one of the different activities they do. But I think when they are engaged in, classical music or classical dance, there are so many ties. It's not just the physicality of it. It's also, I mean, just if you're doing the namaskar, the significance with it, where you're taking the blessings and permission from Mother Earth before we can dance upon her, and seeking the blessings of our gurus and the gods above and the audience. Now, all of that is very intertwined with traditional Indian philosophies. So I think it is giving us more than just the dance or the physical aspect of it, because Indian classical arts are so deeply rooted in the Indian cultural as well as spiritual traditions. So I think kids are, especially when they are second generation immigrants, because they are literally traversing two boats at that point to sort of get those links with their parents' homeland.
Right.
Right. So my next question here would be: how do you think it is promoted a lot in the US? Because I'm not aware of what happens there. So do they promote Indian classical dances there?
They do. Actually, they do. In fact, now first of all, the US government, they do. I mean, in fact, at various levels, you have fellowships which are awarded to Indian classical performers and artists. In fact, the Indian Embassy, of course, often invites Indian classical artists over here in the United States and across the world, actually. The Indian government does that from their end. But the US government and the local counties, I mean, today I know there is a World Cultural Festival, and I know there are people, there is an Indian booth over there. So we have things like that. In fact, for about 10 years, I was one of the judges for the National Foundation for Arts. And this is basically high school seniors, which is 12th graders. They submit their entries. And these are, of course, kids who've been practicing their chosen art form for several years. And so we have ballet, we have tap dance, we have Irish step dance, we have music, everything. But then there's also a world dance category, and almost for as long as I've been part of it, almost every year we've had one or two fantastic Indian classical dancers who have actually won some of these scholarships. And this is, of course, at the national and United States level. So yes, we have, of course, there could certainly be more, but I wouldn't say we are I mean, there is a little bit of that, and a lot of it is also done at the community level. So we have some of that. But of course, it's not like, I mean, you might have one Indian classical dance performance live, maybe every 3 months or 4 months. But there are, and it depends on where you are. Like, for example, if you're in California, which has a significant Indian population, or New York, New Jersey, there is much more there. There is relatively fewer Indians in South Florida. So I mean, it's all actually sort of the number of shows and events is sort of based on how many people of Indian origin.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And in your article, there was a mention of public identity and private identity for expatriates. I found it very interesting, but I wanted to know a little more, and I'm sure everybody on the panel would like to know.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
This is actually, now,
yes.
Typically when we are talking about the diaspora, be it the Indian diaspora, the Chinese diaspora, whatever the diaspora, we are, as I mentioned earlier, we have our feet on two different spaces. So when we're outside, for example, I teach at a university. So when I'm speaking with my students, I'll talk about schedule and the route that you have to take to get to one place. But if I'm talking to my Indian friends or talking to family back in India, I'll talk about schedule and the route I'm going to take to get to one place. Now, this is sort of part and parcel of these two, the public persona, which is what we have, which is to an extent sort of more in keeping with what the majority is doing. But then back home, I mean, the kids will be taking sandwiches for lunch, and they come home and they are eating chapati. So that is part of the private vis-a-vis public persona, and that actually is linked with biculturalism, which we actually, when you look at the development of ethnic identity, bicultural youth, and these are typically when you're looking especially at second generation immigrants, because first generation immigrants like me, we grew up in India. So much of our cultural identity is already formed when we come here. My children, for instance, they were born in the United States and they visit India every couple of years and they know they have grandparents in India. But for the most part, they think they are in the majority. Their friends are all, from all over the place. So biculturalism is basically when you can strongly identify with the majority culture as well as with your own ethnic minority culture. So we do find that a lot of being bicultural allows you to engage in code switching. Code switching is basically when okay, I'm talking to my grandparents and this is what I need to say, and it's not something that they're doing. It's almost happening automatically. Like when I'm speaking with my Indian friends, I'll sort of sneak in a few Hindi words, but I don't find myself doing that at all when I am speaking with my American colleagues or my American friends. So this code switching almost becomes automatic after a point, and that is sort of linked with this biculturalism and coming from this public identity vis-a-vis private identity that we have.
Very nicely, very well put. I think
I have a question for Dr. Madhavi. May I?
Sure.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay. So, Dr. Madhavi, my question to you is, I find that we Indians culturally are very accepting of dance forms when it comes to not just our own, but we also try and learn dance forms which are more prevalent in the Latin countries, so salsa ho gaya, ya koi bhi dance form ho gaya. When it comes to America, and when there are classes which teach particularly, say, Mohiniyattam or Bharatnatyam or Kathak or Odissi, do you find American or Caucasian students also as eager to learn our dance forms?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Really?
Yes. Okay. I have conducted innumerable lecture demonstrations in Bharatnatyam the past almost 20 years. And a lot of them, I've done it at universities and I haven't shared those pictures, but a lot of them are, American students without any ties with India.
That's nice.
Who come for these things and they stay back and they ask questions and they want to know. And, so that kind of interest is fantastic. In fact, in my own class, I did have an American student who had no links with India, because a lot of kids, when they're 5 or 6, it's their parents, okay, let's give them a dose of Indian culture. And we want them to sort of, be a part, have those links with the parents' motherland. Sure. But then I had a couple of American students who've not had any links with India. They haven't even visited India, but they're so interested. They're Indiophiles, and they want to sort of be immersed in, Indian art or
culture and stuff.
So they're extremely accepting and they're extremely interested, which is
nice to know.
I missed out on such an important question. Thank you, Sonal, for bailing me out. It's a lovely question.
I was very intrigued by this point, actually. So I said, this is the best person to pose this to.
I'm glad you asked that. And Dr. Aparna, I just want to ask you something here. I've heard you sing. We've heard you recite soulful poetry. We've seen your beautiful paintings. So now only thing left is dancing. So
मैं करती हूँ डांस.
अभी क्वेश्चन गलत हो गया. I'm sorry, I'm taking it back. How could I doubt you?
और मुझे बहुत शौक है. इनफैक्ट कई अच्छी बीट होती है ना, so it is very difficult to hold back. Oh, that's nice.
And actually, Dr. Pradhan was talking about her painting where the eyes follow you. There is movement right there, which is so the painting itself is dancing.
Yeah.
Madhu, can you show us one with your on your facial expressions? Something you can show us just now?
Of course, yes. Like there's a song that
okay, Dr. Aparna is doing it right now.
Oh wow, that's so nice.
Beautiful. Madhu, now from you also. We have two dances here.
Sundara charu Kapola birajat Sundara gur jubani vanamala So this is Sundara Shama Sundara Baralila Sundara Bolata Bhajana Rasala Sundara Charu Kapola Virajata Sundara Gura Jubani Vanamala Sundara Shama Sundara Baralila Sundara Bolata Bhajana Rasala.
My God, your passion comes across, you know, you were just so involved. That was beautiful.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Now we have, sorry, thank you very much, Madhavi. Now we move on to us, but not the least, we have a surprise from Dr.
Yes.
Madhavi.
Yes.
Beautiful.
my
So
God, that was
beautiful.
beautiful. Yes,
That was,
it
I think,
was.
beauty and grace personified.
Absolutely. All
Beautiful.
her mudras are perfect, ekdam. The way she does it, oh God. It is easy to see how passionate you are about this dance form.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Keeps me going.
We need that motivation in life, you know. Great, great.
Right.
So now, before we wind up, so I would like a quick word from each of you, starting with Sonal. Anything that you would like to share before we leave?
All I'd like to say is that this is one forum, I discovered Asian Literary Society through my mother, and I'll always be eternally grateful to her because this is one forum where, I've come in contact with so many wonderful people. And this is a forum promoting arts in all of its senses. So, like we had Dr. Madhavi, she was a dance form. So, we have dance and art and music and literature. We have poetry. There's so many things going on. And I just owe so much to Asian Literary Society. Actually, I owe a lot of my recognition, a lot of my work to this society. So yeah, and my friendship to everybody here I owe to this society, and I wish
You
them
echo
all
my
the
thoughts.
very best. Yes,
That's a big bonus. That's a big bonus,
yes, it is.
Maybe we've not, it's an online interaction with many others. We have met, but with
Right.
many, but the connect is instant. That is what I feel.
It is.
See,
It
even
is.
with those people whom we have not met, we still feel connected because we
Yes,
are
yes.
connected on the Facebook, And it's more like a family. ALS is
It
more
is.
like a family.
Absolutely. It is. It is. Absolutely, it is, ma'am.
So, and you get to meet people, you get to learn a lot from others. They are sharing their thing. I really feel very happy to be connected with ALS.
Thank you so much, Dr. Panna. And Madhvi, how do you feel about it?
Oh, fantastic. I am very, very, very new. I have very recently, I like Sonal. It is actually through my mother that
You can mention her name, please, for the audience.
Kalyani Menon. So she's my mother. And so she writes the Tiny Tales, and I believe she's been posting those at the ALS site. So yeah, my tales are not really much. Nobody wants to read them. I sent a letter to my mother. She's like, "This is so serious." I was like, "I'm sorry, this is what I do." So, I mean, because as an academic, I mean, it's just academic writing that I engage in. So she's like, "That's not funny" or something. I was like, "That's what I do." But the ALS has been such. I mean, this is my third thing that I have been associated with Manoj, and meeting all you wonderful ladies, and it's been so warm and accepting and encouraging, which is really
That is the word for it.
so wonderful because we need avenues, and it's not. I mean, it's each person is sort of boosting the other person, which is
It's a very uplifting forum because everybody is working towards uplifting the other members.
because it's so supportive. And I think the world needs much more of that because it's not, hey, I'm better than you and I want to push you down. But it's about, supporting each other. And my few months of association with ALS has totally been, completely testament to this, each person helping the other, being there for the other person. And it's a wonderful community. So I'm so grateful.
And I would like to thank Manoj Krishnan,
Oh, yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Imagine how many people, around 20,000 people.
behind it. Yeah.
Yes.
And his vision to do art and craft also, to music also, venturing out in different fields, and keeping everybody together.
Right.
Kudos to Manoj and his team.
Yeah,
it's a feat.
He's so young, if you see year-wise, he's so young, but he's managed this so well. And there's something new happening every day, So it's not like stagnant.
Absolutely.
Stage of
And his
stagnancy.
interaction with everyone is very personal, very, it gives a different, totally a different touch,
I agree. Completely agree.
Manoj is literally the wind beneath the ALS wings.
Right.
Very well
I think that's very well captioned.
So I think we could give that label to Manoj. He's the
Absolutely, we can.
Wind beneath the wings.
Beneath the wings. Perfect. So now
And
just a
thanks
little.
Thanks to Nisha also for doing such a wonderful
Yes.
job as a producer.
It's a lot.
The session.
Humble and all. He's saying, you'll manage well. So I really.
No, you managed beautifully, and it was like chatting with old friends. So that's the best part. It was very casual and it was very informal and very interactive. So it wasn't one of those. Yeah. मैंने बेकार में ही दोपहर से इतनी पढ़ाई करी. Exam तो हुआ ही नहीं.
No, so that you are passed with distinction.
Thank you.
Well, it happened impromptu. Like we did not plan anything, but I just need to mention one thing. Thanks to Madhvi, the suggestion that you gave for putting videos.
Yes,
I think I took it to another
Thank
level.
you so much, Madhvi.
Yes, thank you so much, Madhvi. It really,
Thank you. The video is only what it is because of the beautiful, fantastic pictures and artwork that you all sent. Otherwise, the video is nothing. It's all of your work.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I'd just like to say two lines before I leave. It has been a very enriching session for all of us. And I am taking away so much more about Asia, which I did not know because of all of you. And I would like to thank each of you and look forward to more interactions like this in future.
Yes.
A big thank you to Manoj Krishnan and Asian Literary Society. And with this, we'll sign off for today.
Thank you so much
for everyone joining in your time.
Namaskar.
Thank you.
Namaskar.